There's gonna be a fight tonight!
What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your February 24th NXT review being recorded on the 25th, and probably not viewable to most of you until the 26th. Let me tell you something. In the Greater Toronto Area in Canada, and none of you, if I tell you I live in Brampton, know where Brampton is, but if I say Toronto, Canada, that's the closest main thing. In the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, we had a shitstorm last night. Lots of snow and rain and hail and shit and mess, which is lovely. Which led to my wonderful cable carrier, Rogers Cable, losing connection with my cable, with my internet, with my phone, which is great. Now, as you guys know, I have the WWE Network up here in Canada. It doesn't come through the internet. It doesn't come through the Xboxes and the PS3s and the various other outlets up here in Canada. It does, in fact, come through Rogers Cable as a proper television channel. Came home, had dinner, didn't have any TV. Alright, cable's out again. Talk about that one another time. I will stream it. No internet. I will torrent it on my phone. Nothing. Made all the more ironic by the fact that reading my spoilers, and the spoilers that I read having the wrong dates on them, I thought a lot of cool shit was happening on this show. Turns out it's all happening next week. And this show is very, very bland. To the point where the first match of the night is really the only thing worth talking about. So this will be kind of a bitter, kind of a sarcastic, kind of a tongue-in-cheek episode of the NXT review, so I hope you will bear with me on that. Anyways, it is indeed February 24th NXT. Start off with American Alpha versus Blake and Murphy, and if you haven't noticed, guys, American Alpha, Jordan and Gable, are just a teensy bit over. Oh yes, Blake and Murphy bring Alexa Bliss with them, and that's really all I can say about that. Gable and Murphy start the match, collar and elbow tie, and a trip by Gable, gator roll, a headlock, and a pin attempt by Jordan. Jordan and Gable both work the opponent's arm, double teaming the arm, slamming the arm in the corner. Basically, armbar handed off to the partner, who continues the armbar, handed off to the partner, who continues the armbar. It's good. The story of this match is the quintessential dissection of the limbs of Blake and Murphy. It's fucking great. Belly to back suplex twice by Blake on Blake by Gable. Tornado arm drag takedown, which is fucking pretty, by Gable. Overhead arm drag and an arm bar by Murphy, on Murphy by Gable. Gable cracks Blake and Murphy's heads together. He falls down, holding on to both of their arms, drags them in together with centrifugal force. It's a good little thing. Double dropkick from the American Alpha to both Blake and Murphy, sending them both to the outside. Jordan rides an armbar on Blake for a long time, and then transfers the armbar into a key lock. There is only one goal in this entire match, is just destroy the forearms of their opponents. Lariat clothesline by Murphy and a mudhole stomp. Murphy rides a headlock for a while, and then he hits a takedown and hits him with a mudhole stomp. Blake tags in, continues the mudhole stomp, and follows it up with a corner clothesline. Backbreaker by Murphy and a surfboard by Blake. Gable reverses the surfboard into a surfboard submission of his own, which is pretty damn good. Elbow drop by Blake, who misses a second, and misses a third, and misses a knee drop. Because they suck. Hot tag to Jordan, 2 one-punch knockdowns and a dropkick on Blake. Overhead belly-to-belly suplex for both Blake and Murphy. Corner spear to Blake, and then he just tosses Murphy because he can. The the back suplex pin combination for the American Alpha get the obvious win. Now, I will say, in this match, this was an exposition of what the American Alpha can do, and if I can give any credit at all to Blake and Murphy, they made good punching bags for the American Alpha. They took everything American Alpha could dish out and did it the right way, I suppose. Now, I will give them that credit. Doesn't mean I give a shit about the team. Oh, no, no, no. Keep Alexa Bliss with you. You might stay relevant. You lose Alexa Bliss, you might as well fall off the show. Let her do her own thing. Let her team up with Emma again. Make some of my fantasy bookings come true. But anyways, we replayed the Zayn and Joe ending from last week, the ongoing controversy over who's the number one contender. We talked to William Regal in the back, who announces we are getting a 2 out of 3 falls match between Joe and Zayn next week, which I thought was happening this week. And we're getting a new addition to the NXT roster, and I wonder who it is, and I thought that was going to happen tonight, and it's happening next week, isn't it? Oh, fuck. I was pissed off that I didn't have cable, guys, because I was excited about this show. I torrented it today so I could at least give you guys somewhat of a review on it, even if it was a day late, and it was this show. Apollo Cruz versus Christopher Gerard, and let me tell you guys something about Christopher Gerard. All the commentators could do on commentary was talk about how he's unexpectedly tough, which means he doesn't look like a tough guy, and arguing over whether he looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings or Gilberg. Now, that just made me smile with the whole Ryback turning heel again, dressing like Goldberg, actually getting Gilberg instead of Goldberg chants on Raw. The fact that any announcer in WWE is mentioning Gilberg at all right now is a risky move, but there's nothing to this match, guys. There really isn't. Collar and elbow tie-up, right hands by Cruz and a drop kick. They trade suplex attempts, and all of them are unsuccessful. Uppercuts by Gerard. I will say, there's an uppercut that Gerard does at one point in this match where the approach is pretty aggressive. He's approaching him almost like he's going to hit him with a spear and twists at the last second. I will say that was kind of cool. Backdrop counter by Cruz and hits him with a spear and a beatdown ×2. Spears him, beats him down, lets him up, almost sarcastically, spears him again, beats him down again. Corner splash and a lariat by Cruz. Enziguri off the apron by Cruz, and a toss powerbomb gets him the win. This guy Gerard, I don't know anything about him. This is what's going to become commonplace, I think, in the NXT reviews, where I lean on you guys who have better knowledge of the indies than I do, which is pretty much anybody. If this guy is a significant indie guy, let me know, and let me know if he's somebody worth looking into, if he's gonna be hanging around on the NXT roster, or if he's just some guy. We replay the Bayley-Carmella match. We replay the aftermath with Eva Marie and Nia Jax and Asuka, and we find out that tonight Bayley and Carmella are going to take on Nia Jax and Eva Marie. In the main event, why? Nobody likes Eva Marie. I couldn't be paid to give a fuck about Nia Jax. Asuka's not in the match. Emma's not in the match. Alexa Bliss is not in the match. Bayley, I want to care about Bayley, I really do, because she is great, but I care about Bayley somewhat. I barely care about Carmella after what she showed me in her match with Bayley a couple weeks ago. Eva Marie, I love the character. I love the fact that she's taken the fact that people hate her and is using it so well. But as far as putting her in a match, I don't care. And Nia Jax is a waste of space. Oh yes. Tommaso Ciampa versus Bull Dempsey, which loses all whatever little relevance it had by the fact that we know Bull Dempsey was released like 2 weeks ago. I guess after these tapings. He's comedy, and it doesn't really suit NXT, and I hate to sound like the NXT marks that I mock so much on my regular reviews, but I look at Bull Dempsey and I expect more from NXT. Is that a fair thing to say? Tommaso Ciampa is heel by default, but I like him in this match, and he's kind of cool as a heel. As I say, another guy that came in that a lot of other people were really excited about, who's won me over since he's come to the WWE. They do a test of strength, and it's a comedy bit because he goes to do the test of strength, and then he starts doing jumping jacks, holding hands with Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa boots him, just sort of like, fuck the nonsense. One punch knockdown by Dempsey, and sort of it's not a running senton like Owens or Wyatt do. He kind of rolls his weight over him. Now, I understand he's a big guy. Having that much weight lying on you, even if it's not thrown at you aggressively, would still be uncomfortable and painful to a certain degree. but it's almost like he's trying not to hurt him, which is just weird. A boot and a flying armbar by Ciampa, who works the arm and the shoulder, stomps and elbows to the back, and an eye rake by Ciampa, kick to the head and a key lock by Ciampa, kitchen sink and a failed slam by Ciampa, right hand jabs by Bull Dempsey, but one of those jabs is countered into a rollover armbar with a bridge, which does look nice. All due credit to Ciampa for this finisher, because he's got him face down, and he's got him in a really, really high-arched sort of an armbar situation, and he's so into the hold that he's arching his whole body over his opponent. It's a fantastic spot. If it was the end of a match that I gave a shit about, it would be great. I would be raving about this match. But it's not, so I don't. Because... just saying. Joe and Zayn have their respective promos in the back talking about how they're going to kick ass next week, 2 out of 3 falls match, and they're going to, Joe talking about how it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be the next champion. Rah. Cut and paste heel promo, cut and paste babyface promo. Like I say, especially from two guys like Joe and Zayn, I know they're not like masters of the mic by any stretch of the imagination. They're not a Paul Heyman or a CM Punk or a Shawn Michaels or The Rock or anybody like that. But I have seen better from both of these guys, so I can't talk about the content of the promo because there really wasn't any content. Nia Jax and Eva Marie. Sorry, ow. That's what I do. I'm so distracted by the fact that I don't care about this show that I'm elbow dropping my own desk. Right here. Elbow dropping the desk, hitting my funny bone, and even that is not funny because this show is shit, guys. It really, really is. Thesz press and punches on Eva by Carmella 3 times to start the match. Thesz press and some crazy punches. Thesz press and some crazy punches. Thesz press and some more crazy punches. Double vertical suplex by Bayley and Carmella. Jax tosses Bayley across the ring because she can and follows it up with a headbutt. Bayley basketballs Eva's head off the mat. Now here, I don't like this because the basketball shtick, grab somebody by the head, bounce their face off the mat, that's a heel move, isn't it? Because, ramming somebody's face into the ground, that's a move to create injury, not a babyface move to win a match. That didn't make sense. Bayley and Carmella clothesline Eva in the corner twice. Double team clotheslines on the skinniest, smallest, most demure looking chick in the match, who's supposed to be getting heat as one of the heels. No. Over the shoulder gutbuster by Jax, who turns it into a shoulder breaker. Mudhole stomp by Eva Marie. A kitchen sink and a bear hug by Jax. Mudhole by Eva and chokes on the ropes. Forearms by Carmella and a straitjacket choke by Jax. Low bridge by Carmella, and Jax basically waddles to the outside. Let's be real. Hot tag to Bayley, rolling clotheslines on Eva Marie by Bayley, and some back elbows. Snap vertical suplex, corner back elbows, and a top rope back elbow followed by a Bayley to belly, which has to be tied with the worm in the people's elbow for the dumbest name for a move in wrestling history. Cheap shot by Jax on the outside with a headbutt. That weird sort of like I'm gonna rub my ass in your face submission move that Carmella does that's about as good as the flying chocolate camel toe of death by Naomi, but 3 leg drops by Nia Jax, and Eva takes the tag and gets the win. Nia Jax drops 3, I guess, aggressive looking leg drops, and Eva tags in and says, yeah, I'll take the pin, and Nia Jax says, sure, I've done all the work, you can take the glory. Eva Marie and Nia Jax win, and I struggle so hard to give a shit. But we go to the back, where we have, what's his name? Mini Michael Cole. Rich Brennan is in the back with Finn Balor and William Regal. They're talking about the number 1 contendership match coming up next week, or somewhat. They do talk about that, but really, they talk about the fact that Finn Balor is approaching the record for longest reigning NXT champion. Now, the championship's only been around for a handful of years, so you really don't want to be pushing that too much, but okay. And William Regal says, and this is the first time I've ever heard of this, that there's a hot debate between who's the best NXT champion in NXT history. NXT history is like 5 years, but in NXT history, who was the best champion, Finn Balor or Neville? So next week, we're going to get Finn Balor versus Neville, which is amazing, which is really cool. There's so much cool shit happening next week. we're getting the 2 out of 3 falls match. We're getting the 2 out of 3 falls match in 2 weeks. We're seeing somebody debut next week on NXT. We have a brand new talent to add to the roster, and we are getting an exhibition between Finn Balor and Neville. Those are 3 blockbuster announcements that are going to take place in the next 2 weeks. Could they not have done something this week of some relevance? The curtain-jerking opening contest was the only thing worth a damn on this show, and that's only because American Alpha are over like fucking Rover. Guys, I was pissed off that my cable was out last night. Now, looking back on this show, I didn't miss much. You guys know me. I'm usually a lot more positive than this, but fuck this show. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye.
Freak like me, don't